Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 pro match cast. It's gonna be an exciting GSL replay here today, as it is gonna be Rebellion's ByuN taking on none other than a world champion, the returning Zerg Rogue. He's hard to describe other than that he was the best Zerg player for a long time prior to doing his military service. And now he's back, so we're going to see how well he fares against someone who's been playing for a lot longer than him. ByuN got his military service out of the way much earlier, I believe. So, that means, every Korean has to take like a year to 2 years off of playing, but it does matter when you take it, so to speak. So of course it's going to take Rogue a bit to get back into form. This replay is from the GSL qualifiers, and so it's going to be a fun match to watch, as these two are both incredibly good, but that's going to be the main focus here today, whether Rogue is up to form again to take down ByuN. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this video, make sure to go ahead, slap that like button. I know that this isn't the usual content on the channel, but I certainly enjoy casting these pro matches, so let's go for 20 likes on this video. Leave a comment down below if you want to see more of these games or more of the bot games. You guys are the best at it. Just comment what you had for breakfast or what you're making for dinner. Who knows? And yeah, we've got multiple Reapers on the way for ByuN as he goes for the 2 racks Reaper macro opening. This is an incredibly strong build for the Terran because it gives early game control while being safe with this wall off at the natural. Then you can just macro up behind it. So it's kind of like a proxy 2 racks, except you've got control for longer on the map, and it's much less of a commitment. Now, the first Reaper is moving across the map for ByuN. He's got very good micro, so he's going to be gunning for a drone or some lings for starters. Rogue, of course, has done this dance a million times. The question is whether ByuN can get too much with that first one, but the ling micro is looking really darn good for Rogue, pulling out the injured one, letting it regen that HP. All Zerg units with their slow but natural HP regeneration, so I don't know how long it'll be, probably a minute before that ling's at full HP. Command center on the way for ByuN behind this with an extra racks. That's going to allow him to go into a 3 racks play with lots of bio units behind this. No third command center, just straight up racks on racks on racks. The Reapers dive on in. They do kill one of those drones, so a bit of damage, but not much for the 3 Reaper commitment, and it is just a 3 Reaper commitment, as you don't want to make too many Reapers, as you're not, the difference between like 3 to 5, you're not going to get too much more done, maybe force a few more lings, but other than that, nothing too major. The Reapers can deny the 3rd base for a while though, until ling speed is done, and Rogue is actually just up and skipping ling speed this match. He's banking a lot of gas, going for that fast lair with the 2nd gas on the way. No Roach Warren in sight yet. What is he cooking? As this is not a standard Zerg build. I mean, there's the potential that this is going to be a Spire? Without a Roach Warren on the way yet, I think it's got to be a Spire or something, but there we go. Okay, we do have a Roach Warren on the way now. Very, very quick lair. I guess timing this, well, the timing is interesting on this. Of course, it is a reactive build that he's going for, not a build that is something that Zerg always wants to go for, having to delay the 3rd for so long. We do see that ByuN has given up on the Reapers, actually, and the fact that he hasn't been poking means that he might not necessarily know there's no ling speed. He's starting to move out on the map, though, with these Marines potentially going to be looking to cancel this 3rd if he can. There's no units out for Rogue yet, as this Roach Warren just finishes up. Carapace is on the way. However, only 2 Roaches are being made. ByuN has got a lot of Marines that are going to have stim. He's got 14 out right now, about 10 out on the map. And Roach speed, glial reconstitution is on the way for Rogue. But yeah, just going into roach play here. We'll see if he's going to potentially go for an attack, or if he's just going to make enough roaches to safely macro up behind this, keeping in mind ByuN is on quite a low worker count after going for this build. 40 on 2 bases. He will get saturated, but he's either going to have to throw down 2 more racks or a 3rd command center here if he wants to play this game out. He really is focused on getting some damage done, though. With Marines, with mass Marines against Rogue, who's just going to try and survive on 3 bases, and we are seeing Rogue just make units from this point on. This is really important. I'm not sure what's tipped Rogue off to this, as he hasn't scouted much, but he is reading this very well. Whether it's that he's planning on going for an attack forward or just to play defensive, this is going to be what he wants, as he's going to need all these roaches and ravagers to defend against this attack. Stim Marines with combat shield coming in for ByuN. He's going to step onto creep relatively soon and be gunning for this 3rd base. Rogue has been making nothing but roaches, by the way. He's going to charge in, see these Marines. There's not enough medivacs to save them all, so they're just going to have to stim and run out of there. ByuN goes for a drop towards the 3rd or the main base, going to potentially cancel this attack. The Marines do dive on one of these queens. They don't have +1 just yet, so their attack isn't that good, and Rogue is just going right across the map. ByuN is panicking, building 2 bunkers. The Zerg player is looking for some damage, and it's a big choice by Rogue to not be pulling back a good chunk of his army to defend this. He's just going for aggression, and seeing as how there's not many medivacs out for the Terran player yet, this is quite scary. Rack's forced to lift off. ByuN lifts them off so they don't die. However, we are seeing him bounce all over the place. He's actually got a worker lead with a 3rd command center on the way now. And Rogue is not getting a kill here, so he just has to go into drones. And yeah, Rogue was planning for a big roach timing attack, so he hasn't changed much as a player. And this is... it kind of headed off the build of ByuN, but I'm not sure that worked out too well for him. He didn't lose too much at all, but now he's in a position that he's got to macro out of this game with the roaches. And that's a little uncomfortable. He is getting +2 carapace already, which is interesting. I guess so he can potentially benefit from that if he makes lings later on, or any other units instead of going for the missile attack. ByuN got +1 attack. He's getting +1 armor, so upgrades will be relatively even moving forward. And ByuN can begin to drop all over the map, as he's still got these units all over the place. Rogue is going to be playing defensive, probably going for a 4th base sometime soon. And we'll have to wait and see when he's going to get that out. He is still just making roaches. No infestation pit yet, no Hydra Den, just Roach Ravager from our Zerg. And Rogue, for those of you that don't know, was a player that just killed Terrans with mass Roach Ravager when he was at his prime. And he's going back to what he's good at. He is securing the 4th base as a gold, so he wants that economic boost. I like that decision, seeing as how he is down on workers. ByuN's 3rd is quite late, but he's still going to be a 3-base Terran against what is essentially a 3-base Zerg on less workers for now. Rogue's still holding the line, trying to Crocodile down those medivacs. There is that infestation pit on the way now, so potentially Infester Roach Ravager, which is something Rogue has been so good at. And yeah, I'm excited to see that Rogue is sticking to his bread and butter, what he was very good at back in the day, as of course skills fall off a little bit when you're not practicing, but the fundamentals are still there. Now Rogue is going to have to defend potentially against some aggression from ByuN. ByuN wants to shut down that 4th base if possible. The Zerg still has got a lot of roaches and ravagers here to trade against these Marines. Crocodiles can be very big if they get the connections they need. We do have these medivacs unloading towards the 5th base location of Rogue, so this could very well be cancelled by ByuN, as there's not many Zerg units in position to defend this, and it will be a kill, actually, as Rogue's attentions are divided, losing a small portion of his army in the middle of the map, and taking some very poor trades, losing a hatchery, losing some of his army, and now his drones at his 4th are in trouble. ByuN is just stimming in with so many Marines. He's going to try and get this hatchery, and I think he will. That is a big success for the Terran player, denying a massive portion of the Zerg's economy, not just the 5th base that was building going down, but the 4th base too. Rogue's economy is going to be really small, and he's going to need to take some great trades here. He's trying to get out in a Hydra Den or a lurker den, so then he can have hydras to get some good efficiency. ByuN still dancing out on the map with his units. He's getting up a 4th base, floating that over, making lots of bio here. His 2-2 is still a ways away from completing, but once that's done, his Terran army will be looking mighty strong. Rogue is just hanging on until he gets out these lurkers, and even making 3 Vipers at a time. This could lead to some big pickoffs for the Zerg if he uses them well, as he's got the Hydras now. As I say that, he turns them into lurkers, so he's not actually going to be able to abduct the Medivacs, but he may be looking for Blinding Clouds, potentially on siege tanks. The 5th base gets cancelled again. So Rogue trying to get this base up, but there's bio already waiting for that. ByuN is just all over the place, and the Zerg is having a really tough time as the first ghosts begin production. A drop now towards that natural base. There's a queen there. The lurker den gets spotted by ByuN. Rogue is trying to react to this, wants to get those Medivacs if he can. If he loses his lurker den, this will be disastrous for the Zerg. 1 transfuse went into it, but that's not enough. Rogue immediately starts another one in his main base. However, there's a drop towards the 5th base, and that gets canceled. Not saved. At least it was canceled, but still, ByuN's multitasking, even hard to contend when you're in absolute peak form, is showing like it's quite a challenge for Rogue to deal with. He will save this hatchery that's building. Does clean up that drop as ByuN's multitasking falters a little bit there. But it's still looking mighty scary for the Zerg, as now ghosts are going on up. There's going to be 5... Wait, no. Oh, some of the Vipers must have got picked off, pardon me. Oh, that's a disaster for the Zerg. Rogue, yeah, lost at least 2 of those Vipers, I think. Yeah, he did. Pardon my observing for missing that. As the Terran player got some good pickoffs there. That might be why he lost some of those units he was committing for those Vipers. Creep still being cleaned on up as Rogue is trying to spread that, get as many bases up as he possibly can. He's now getting out of Nidus. Nidus Lurker is a good way to get damage done to a Terran. And that is actually where Zerg struggles a bit in this day and age, is getting damage done to the Terrans that are secured. Like, Terrans naturally got better at defending against the high aggressive Zerg play that was the meta when Rogue was around. So now it's quite concerning for Rogue, as he is going to have to contend with a Terran that's making 5 command centers at a time, so he can drop mass mules, mass scans. Crossbows do go down, however, ByuN gets so many snipes off with his ghost. The Zerg has no choice but to retreat. He's only got 5 lurkers. He's got a good number of Vipers, but the snipes are just huge. The Zerg is attacking on in, abducting individual ghosts, but I'm not even sure there's enough Zerg to clean this up. Rogue is losing a lot of units. His lurkers are not here in this fight. They're coming forward now to stem the flow, stem the bleeding a little bit, but that was not a good trade for the Zerg. Down in resources lost. The lurkers getting sieged up will potentially save this location, or at least buy a bit of time for Rogue to get out more supply. He's producing as many Hydras, as many Lings as he possibly can. The Terran is quite committed here. He may lose some of these Medivacs. He does lose 1 full Medivac. There's still a tank to guard the retreat. Will that other Medivac fall? No, it won't. But ByuN's economy is so scary here, as he's probably just starting to mule like mad, which will allow him to replace these units. Rogue's own economy isn't that bad. However, 77 workers to 88, not factoring in the Terran mules, is quite concerning for the Zerg. So he's going to have to get some really good trades, potentially a wipe on this Terran army if he wants to win this game. As, yeah, ByuN's army will definitely win the war of attrition here with all these ghosts, the snipes they can get off. So we may need to see that Nidus get used, or potentially some more spells or something like that. Rogue is just going for Adaptive Talon, +3 on these lurkers. And the +3 attack will shred through this bio if he can get a sudden jump on ByuN, but there's a nuke in production here for the Terran, so ByuN is already thinking about harassing and dismantling this Zerg wherever possible. More and more lurkers are being morphed. However, ByuN's had the counter for these for like 5 minutes now. And so I think we need some Infestors, some Banelings potentially even, for Rogue. Not that he's gone the melee attack route, but I think a Baneling nest wouldn't be bad here, because you need Banelings to force the Terran army to split We do see a Nidus now going up in the Terran main base. This could be huge. ByuN is, however, reacting in time, so that's not going to get up. I don't think there is a tank, FCBs, and Ghosts to shut this down. Yeah, nothing's going to get out of that, so a good attempt by Rogue. Another Nidus actually being planted, almost just to mess with ByuN a little bit. And that's actually is going to mess with ByuN big time, having a Nidus now get thrown up in the main. Hydras are off creep. I don't believe they have their speed upgrade, or they mustn't do. Okay, that command center does get burned down. That's nice. Another Nidus getting dropped towards the left. We're seeing Rogue try and use this position to take control of the map. Ghost running up this cliff, trying to get that lurker there, but bit of missed micro. Overseer gets deleted. Rogue's out on the map with a chunk of his army. He's got to be careful. This could get picked off. Lurkers are running on in right past the planetary fortress. This is such a bold move for the Zerg, but the problem is there's going to be ghosts galore. He's burrowing on top of a planetary fortress. Already established siege tanks. I think Rogue may have realized that that was a bad commitment. And another Nidus being attempted to get on up. The Lurker repositioning. Looking for damage. It's a big commitment, and all of this army on the right side does perish too. We see 27 Hydras being made. Rogue now getting out lots of Lings too. No Bane, or there is a Baneling nest, pardon me. No Baneling speed just yet. Now he's researching that, realizing, right, I gotta deal with these ghosts. And Lurkers alone do not cut it. Roaches and Hydras, or Hydras primarily, can try and come on in here, but there's the snipes going down on them. Lurker's trying to close the gap. Rogue is looking for a good fight. He's picking off the tanks, however the ghosts stay alive. Terrans are, like ByuN, are so good at not losing these ghosts. He's only lost, well, he's actually lost 15 this game, which is more than I thought it would be. But he's still got out, 16 ghosts, so he's doing okay. Lots more Lurkers are morphing for Rogue. There is Lings to try and close the distance on these ghosts as well, potentially get some friendly fire siege tank shots, but the ghosts with Medivac support are so darn tough, and Rogue has got 17 Lurkers morphing. They're not going to be there for that fight, so some of these Lurkers are going to start burrowing. They get massive spines off on that Terran army, killing off a lot of the ghosts, forcing the evacuation. More of these Lurkers are going to burrow, and this is what you got to do. This is what Rogue is doing, denying the Terran from getting the efficiency with those snipes. He's just playing kind of loose and fast, just attacking no matter the cost to himself. And that is one of the things Rogue was best at. However, now we see these Lurkers are set up. They will be punished by the ghosts. There is so many of them that the ghosts actually can't shut this down easily, and the Lurkers do get big spines off. More ghosts are coming in for ByuN, though. That should be enough to clean this up. It's kind of funny how many Lurkers Rogue did actually just bring, as it allowed him to just weather the amount of snipes. He's like, you got a lot of snipes? I got more Lurkers than you can snipe. ByuN will finally clean this up at massive cost to Rogue, however. Well, actually, no, he hasn't quite cleaned this up. He's dealing with Lurkers in this portion of the map, splitting his bio and tanks against them. Will clean this up. ByuN is struggling to secure a right side base, struggling to secure a left side base, whereas Rogue does still have a good economy, and oh man, Rogue needs this good economy as he is broke as a joke. ByuN, however, not maxed out, doesn't have enough gas to really replace all these units, so Rogue is looking for blood. This is actually insane how Rogue is coming on in with this attack. Lurkers just siege right up in ByuN's face. He already tore down the planetary, which was kind of an anchor point for ByuN earlier, setting up for this attack. In come the Lurkers, and Rogue with his crazy aggression, just committing into everything, is trying to break and potentially kill ByuN here. ByuN down to 130 supply. He's making whatever he can, and Rogue is looking to deny bases, potentially going to kill off an orbital command. ByuN's got to deal with lifting that off, keep that alive. The Lurkers with their seismic spines have such high range, and if you're a Zerg fan, I think you got to be like, all right, Rogue's coming back. We may be losing Serral to military service, but Rogue is coming back, guys. And yeah, these siege tanks are getting good shots off on some of these Lurkers, but here goes Rogue again. He's like, I don't care if I lose a few Lurkers. I'm just going to charge on in here. And the Lurkers with their mobile AoE shred through Terran bio. And he's playing Lurkers like kind of in a crazy way that I haven't seen too much of lately. just charging on in, being like, yes, I will lose a bunch of these lurkers, but I'm going to attack, and now ByuN needs crazy cost efficiency that he hasn't been getting all game. His mining is being disrupted by one lurker at this planetary fortress. That lurker's actually kind of running away. Would have done well to stay there. We're seeing ByuN holding up in his natural, trying to deal with these lurkers. He's getting lots of kills off on them as Rogue actually retreats from that fight. But, I mean, Rogue's efficiency is crazy. 21 more Hydras on the way. He's now making some Banelings, potentially looking for a kill on this Ghost army, and the Ghost count has been whittled down. 55 lurkers have died, but Rogue has been... I mean, he's been trading okay against the Terran. He's denied this base to the right, which is huge. ByuN getting mules off on this location to the left-hand side. The 9 o'clock position is actually really darn big for him, as this is going to give him a lot more life in this game. Rogue does scout this out. That's really important. If he can get some lurkers in there, that would be huge. So we see ByuN setting up a turret. He's like, no, I need this base. And he does need this base. At least one of these two bases. Rogue has got burrowed lings denying this location. That's a pain. So ByuN's going to have to scan and deal with that. A drop now getting off for ByuN. ByuN was constantly defending, too busy to deal damage to Rogue. He's now getting something done. Will get out with that medivac just barely. However, Rogue, now maxed out again, is going to be looking for an attack. The Terran army is not that big, and Rogue is maxed out once again. All of a sudden, he's built up a 3k bank, so he's looking for a fight. He wants to shut down this Terran location. In-roll the Banelings. ByuN is kiting back. He's got some siege tanks here, but look at this. Lurkers and Lings break that. And now snipes are being queued on up on the lurkers. However, there's still a lot of them here. And Rogue is just playing so darn well for someone that recently returned here from the military service. He's making 70 lings. So we are seeing those Banelings now used in force. The Ghost breakers along with the lurkers. The Banelings force the Ghosts back, while the lurkers then can run up and siege without being sniped. And oh man, 49 Banelings are on the way. ByuN currently has got no siege tanks out, no mines, no splash damage to deal with lurkers. Just ghosts, but ghosts aren't good against Banelings. And Rogue knows that. We're seeing a drop down at this hatchery. This is a nice move. Rogue, however, has had pretty much free reign to mine. He's got this base on the bottom right here. And as a result, his crazy economy has allowed him to go for these constant attacks. ByuN struggling to maintain any reasonable supply. And this is a Terran that has 8 orbital commands, struggling to maintain supply. In goes Rogue once more. Banelings are rolling forward. ByuN is doing a great job kiting back against this, actually. However, there's so much Zerg coming on in. The Banelings do get some good connections. The Ghosts manage to survive and kill off some of these Hydras now with counter snipes. There's more Terran army coming on in, but ByuN knows it's over. GG, Rogue takes it. What a play by the Zerg. And that is so darn impressive. I thought that this game was going to be almost a situation of ByuN slowly dismantling Rogue. But Rogue, with his aggression, was so darn good. Being able to just, yeah, completely prevent ByuN from attacking him. ByuN tried to drop this base once or twice, but he needed medivac drops on the right side, the upper left. Instead, ByuN was 100% on the defensive, and that was through Rogue's, I'm calling it loose, but calculated throwing away of lurkers. Like, he runs in 10 lurkers, he might lose 5 of them to some tanks or ghosts, but then all of a sudden they're sieged up and the Terran has to react to that. It was so darn well. I believe Rogue is playing in the GSL soon. Probably by the time this video goes up, that will have already happened. In his group anyway, so I'll definitely be watching that. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Yeah, if you made it to the end of the video and you enjoy this kind of content, click that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video, a comment too, as that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Consider becoming a YouTube member if you want to support the channel. Join the Discord where I announce tournaments, our Managed Nation League, which is a amateur team country-based tournament, which we put together Team Canada for, which is cool. So if you want to get involved in that, join the Discord. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.